Pokemon number 50 on this list is going to be Golurk. The reason why I picked Golurk to be number 50 is because it's got such an interesting design, and the fact that it is a ancient, like, mechanical being, golem, is just really interesting. And, it's got such an interesting design. It's ghost ground. I think it's the only one of its kind besides its pre-evolutionary form. And it's got a pretty nice looking shiny with it going from this like light blue to this like gray. And it can learn fly. Like it's one of those types that can learn fly for real. Like, I think in the anime it can get like rockets, but it's just really interesting that it has all of this stuff to it, and it just doesn't look like much. So number 50 is Golurk. Number 49, Primeape. The reason why Primeape is on this list is because I did a solo run with it in Fire Red at one point in time, and I used it. This was the only Pokemon I could use. And it did really surprisingly well. I didn't really have any trouble with it. Even against Sabrina, who's the psychic type, I ended up teaching it a dark type. I think I taught it theft. And it was already pretty decently high at that point because I had fought every trainer up to that point. So it was like 10 to 15 levels higher than Sabrina's highest. And with that dark type move, and because dark type was special in this generation, but still, it did a lot of damage, and it was able to just keep itself going. It was just a really nice Pokemon. I like its design, and it's actually a pretty decent Pokemon. I would suggest trying it out at some point. So number 49, Primeape. Number 48 is Escavalier. I put this one on this list because it is a Bug Steel type, which is a really good type. It's only weak to fire. That's times 4, so that's not as good. But it's only got that one weakness, which makes it a really good typing. And if you give it some kind of berry that reduces that weakness, then it only takes times 2 damage for one attack, and it's pretty cool. It's got a really high attack. It's got a really low speed, which isn't usually my forte. I like fast things. And I like its design. It looks like a knight jousting. There we go. It looks like a knight jousting, and it's also got a really interesting trade mechanic, where you have to trade it with a very specific Pokemon, and it just looks really good. So number 48 is Cavalier. Number 79 is Stoutland. The reason why Stoutland is on this list is because, well, its name kind of reminds me of Scotland. Scotland's a nice place. I have a tiny bit of Scottish heritage. And then, it's a dog, and it rescues people stranded in mountains. And its fur helps keeps them warm. It's just like an interesting and cool idea, and it's an awesome Pokemon. It can learn 3 elemental Fang moves. It can learn Ice Fang, Fire Fang, Thunder Fang. After saying that, I realized that there's actually a 4th kind of elemental, and that would be Poison Fang. But it doesn't appear to learn that. Yeah, no, I doesn't seem to learn that. It's got a pretty decent speed, but it's really high in attack, and it's got decent defenses. But it's just a neat little Pokemon. It's got a cool design, and so that's why Stoutland is number 47. Number 46 is Magnemite. Um, the reason why it is on this list is because it's actually kind of interesting to think about, inanimate objects, like inanimate mechanical objects like Magnemite and Clink and Clink, Clink and Clang and Clink Clang and stuff like that. Just developing life. Um, you know. So Magnemite is an interesting Pokemon. It's got a really nice shiny where it becomes like kind of even more gray and metallic. And then it loses all of its color. Like it becomes black and white, kind of, and like grays. It becomes that. It goes onto this black and gray scale, black and white scale. And then the tips of its magnets become pure black, and it just looks so cool. Um, and I like it in its solitary form over just its three Magnemites stuck together as Magneton, or its giant solid mass of Magnezone better, because it just looks so cool in that form. I do like the rest of its forms, but I think I prefer Magnemite over the rest of them. Um, and in the second generation it gains Steel type. It's just amazing. So, Magnemite is number 46. Coming in at number 45 is Magmortar. And Magmortar is interesting. I took a liking to Magmortar in 5th generation. I was trying to create a team, and I was looking at different Pokemon, and I took a liking to it because it had some good stuff. Its hidden ability is Vital Spirit, which means it can't fall asleep, which is always good. It's a pure fire type, so it only has 3 weaknesses, but it can learn Solar Beam and Sunny Day, which means you come out, you set up that Sunny Day, and then you have 5 turns to protect yourself from things that are typed in your weaknesses. So, you send out the Magmortar, you set up Sunny Day, and they switch out into a water type. You can now use Solar Beam and just obliterate it. Plus, it's got a really, really high special attack, so that Solar Beam is going to get be even more powerful because you have very high special attack, and so you're actually very well protected with this fire type. And so that's I guess that's really the only reason why I like it, is because I know a lot of fire types can learn Solar Beam and Sunny Day, but he's one of the better ones, and so this is probably one of the few Pokemon that's on this list for a pure competitive reason. But yeah, so Magmortar number 45. Number 44 is Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan has always had kind of a place in my heart since I played Fire Red, because he can learn the. I think there's only 3 of them this time. 3 elemental punching moves: Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Fire Punch. He can learn them naturally at like level 26. And in Fire Red, you get him at level 25, so you only have to get him up 1 more level, and you can get him, and he knows like Mac Punch, and then He knows Mach Punch, so you can keep him knowing Mach Punch, and then you can teach him Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Fire Punch. Although now apparently those moves he learns at 36 instead of 26. So he learns them at a much lower level now, but before he learned them at a much lower level. But I always enjoyed those moves. They're not really the most powerful of their type or anything like that, but they always intrigued me, especially since Abra can learn them, which is kind of funny in my opinion. Although it's a lot better to have an Abra know those and Alakazam know those in third gen because those moves are still technically special attack. Although now I'm getting off on a tangent. So before I get completely distracted, Hitmonchan also has a really nice sprite. He doesn't really change that much between his normal and his shiny sprite, but I like the way that he goes from having red gloves to blue gloves. It's kind of kind of a nod to the like some of these boxing games and stuff where player one is red and then player two is blue. So to me, it seems like a nod towards that, and that's just neat. So number 44, Hitmonchan. Number 43 is Drudagon. I like its shiny sprite. Gets this nice green and orange combo going. It's got rough skin, which is one of my favorite abilities. Um, and I'm not normally a fan of dragon types, but it does have one of my favorite abilities, and it's got a really nice shiny sprite. Um, and it's just got this nice, cool looking design. Um, and there's not really much else to say about it. It's got a nice design. It's a fifth generation game. And fifth generation was one of the first. In the fifth generation, I think Black and White 2 were the first Pokemon games that I ever pre-ordered. Not really that has anything to do with this, but Drudagon is just a nice looking Pokemon, both in its normal sprite and its shiny sprite. It's got a nice design. The coloration of it's good. It's got a nice ability. That's why I placed it number 43. Coming in at number 42 is Chandelure. I had this app before 5th generation came out, and leading up to 5th generation. And so the app updated itself once Black and White hit the Japan market, but not here in America. And so it had all of the Pokemon from Japan with their Japanese translated names. And I saw Chandelure and I instantly loved it. Like, it was just a fantastic design. The entire line is a fantastic design. And I like its shiny sprite where it's orange instead of purple or blue. Ghost Fire, it's a unique typing. Um, and it's just a cool looking Pokemon and stuff like that. I probably would have used it in Black and White had I been able to get it earlier, and if everything in that game hadn't taken, almost up into the 50s to level up and taken up into the 50s to evolve. So, that's an issue. But, Chandelure, awesome looking Pokemon. Awesome typing. Doesn't really protect it that much from type. It's got a lot of weaknesses. But still, it's a really cool looking Pokemon. I like it. So that's number 42. Number 41 is Viper. This is one of the first poison types that I actually did enjoy. It's a snake, and it's just got an interesting and awesome design. And it's always at war with Zangoose. And it's just a really interesting Pokemon. It learns Poison Fang. Learns Poison Tail at 12. Yeah, it learns Poison Fang. But, it's got it's a snake, which are always cool. And its abilities are very similar. Like its abilities are very similar to snakes in general. Shed skin. Snakes very often shed their skin. When I mow my yard, I find quite a lot of snake skins lying around and stuff like that. Um, and they sometimes get into places that they're not supposed to, so infiltrator makes sense and stuff like that. Um, so it's just an interesting Pokemon. It's got an interesting design, nice looking shiny sprite. Um, and it was one of the first poison types I liked. So, number 41, Seviper.